What's going on, my fellow Jedi and Padawans? Welcome back to another Jedi gaming video. Thank you guys so much for coming back to the channel, and if you guys are new, welcome. Now today, on this happiest of Saturdays for y'all, we are going over the worker tier list for Palworld here, going over some pals that help with increasing the carrying capacity so you can have more of that ore, wood, whatever you're going around collecting on you, as well as some pals that'll help you with the ore and tree cutting / mining, whether they are just in your party or some of them you do have to be mounted, which in my opinion definitely gets to be a little hard to hit some of those trees and rocks when you're mounted on them. So not the most effective, still going to cover them for you. On top of all of that, we're going to go over all of the pals that have the tier 4 and tier 3 work suitability for all 10 of those different things that we have around our base: lumbering, kindling, watering, planting, etc. So we will get right into it with our pals that here raise our carrying capacity. So these are in no order specifically right here. First off, we have Bronze Cherry and Bronze Cherry Aqua. Both of these are a little bit later to mid game that you can grab them, but both help with that carrying capacity. Next off, we have both of the Wampos, so the ice version as well as the grass version. Same kind of thing, you have to wait a little bit longer, that level 20-25 I would think, to kind of grab these, or you could breed them out a little bit earlier. Next off, the earliest game one by far is Captivia. This helps with that little carrying capacity for you, giving you a little bit less than the others. Next off, we have Lunaris. It changes the gravity of the area to help you carry more. So when you stack those up in your party, helps you carry all that ore, coal, whatever you are carrying. Next off, our last two for carrying capacity is King Paka as well as King Paka Christ. So both of these in the Fire Paka as well as the Ice Paka are going to help you with the carrying aspect. So throw 5 of these in your party, any of these variations, and they will help you carry. I personally think Wampos helps the most with the number that it adds on, but they are all very similar. Next on this list is pals that'll help us with cutting down trees or mining that ore. So first off, we have a couple that you can just have in your party that'll help you. With one, actually you have to throw out and it'll mine that ore really fast. With the others that we cover, well, you have to actually be mounted. So first off, we have Ithric Deer right here. This, if it's in your party, it'll help you with that efficiency of cutting down trees. So if you need to go farm some wood, whatever it may be, throw this in your party is also a good mount to ride around on. Next off, we also have Gummos. This right here also helps with that tree cutting capacity. So 5 of these, you are wiping down trees in just a couple hits. Very easy to get both of these very early game as well. Next on the list is Digtos. So this right here is the pal that you have to throw out on that ore, coal, pure quartz, whatever it is, but with the mining ability of this pal and its pal work where it spins in a circle, it'll just absolutely melt some of those ore and mining samples. So definitely a good one to have in your party if you're going out, but is a better worker at a base in my personal opinion. Now next, these 5 or 6 right here are all when you are riding them, which doesn't nearly do as well of a job as just having them in your party, like the Gomos or the Deer, as well as that Digtos. So these can get a little tricky to get up next to those trees and rocks using the slams that they have. Not really as good, besides maybe this first one right here, which is the Astagon. When you are riding it or mounted on it, more ore will be able to be farmed, or you can do more damage. So there is an AoE attack that the Astagon can get. That is very good for clearing out ore. Next off, we have Mamorest as well as Mamorest Christ. So both of these in the grass and ice version of Mamorest are able to help you with farming not just the ore, but both ore and coal. Well mounted, you farm these more efficiently, so you can ride them, get a little bit of that extra efficiency for both trees and ore. Next off, we have Reptaro and Reptaro Cyst. These are specifically for that ore when you are riding them around. around. They will increase that efficiency for you. But once again, riding on some of these is hard to get close to those rocks if you're using like your pickaxe or your axe, and some of their moves definitely not as good as if you were just going out there and using your pickaxe. Last but certainly not least for this, which is probably the earliest game alongside that Gumbos and Ithridir, is the Rush Boar. It helps with breaking that ore or rocks and stone around the area when you run into it with one of its moves. So definitely the lowest on the list for the mounts that you're riding that help you farm those materials, but definitely would use the ones that you just have to have in your party with Gumbos, Ithridir, or that Digtos. Throw it out and it absolutely melts that ore. So last but certainly not least, we're going to talk about all the pals with that tier 4, tier 3 work suitabilities for our 11 different categories. So we'll try to make this as quick as possible, just ripping through some of them, but definitely like this first one with transporting has a lot of pals that fit in that tier 4 and 3. So first off, for the tier 4s, we have both of the Wampos, the normal Wampo and the Wampo Botan. Those both you can see right here have a carrying capacity at tier 4 for that transporting. Now when we move on to tier 3, there is a bunch of them, so I'm just going to throw them all up on the screen at once. First off, we're going to have Grisbolt, Orzerk, Quiverin, Flaris, Hellzeifer, Warsect, Mossanda, Beacon, both of the Vanworms, the normal and the ice, as well as the Gorgorot and the Ragnahawk. So this screen full of all these pals have a tier 3 in transport, so they are very, very good for carrying around whatever you have on your base. If you're using the ranch, carrying that milk, eggs, wool, or carrying all of that materials that you are farming, the wood, coal, ore, iron, everything like that, very good for transporting around. Next off, in the cooling category, a little bit less this time. In the category tier 4, we just have the legendary Frost Stallion, one of the best pals to have in general. Very good for attack, using it to get around the map, as well as cooling tier 4 right here. Next off, we have in the tier 3 section, we have 3 of them with the Ice King P.E.K.K.A., the Ice Reptaro, as well as Cryolinks, or that King P.E.K.K.A. Christ and the Reptaro Christ, the same thing as the ice versions. But all 3 of these are the tier 3, so throw them onto that cooler to help your food last even longer. Next off, we have our medicine making. Now in this, there are no tier 4 pals, only tier 3 and below, so I just threw the tier 3s on here for you. First off, we have Lylene. Next off, we have Veilet, and last we have Felbat. All of these a little tricky to get and catch, but once you get them, crafting all of that medicine never has become easier, so you can hear all those sprains, ulcers, depressions, whatever hits your pals. Moving on to one of the most important ones for farming that ore, coal, as well as that pure quartz, sulfur, whatever you are using for ammo, and all of those ingots. So first off, for mining here, we have at tier 4 Astagon. This thing absolutely slaps up the rocks when you got it, especially with artisan, work slave, something like that. This will just destroy all of that ore on your base. Next off, we have a couple at tier 3. First off, we have Anubis, Reptaros. Both of them are in this category, so the ice and the normal version, with Digtos as well as Menacing. So these last 4 right here, 5 in the tier 3, are also very good for throwing out on your base, especially since some of them fit in the other categories, so they're multitasking. Moving on to lumbering, which also only has tier 3 and below, just like medicine did. We only have a couple in here. First off, we have the Bushy with both of the Wampos again in the normal Wampo, which is the ice version, as well as the Wampo Baton, which is the grass, as well as that Warsec again. So very good right here for cutting down the trees on your base, doing any of that farming at the tree farm for just keeping up your materials. Now this one right here is important for our planting planting, and farming. First off, we got gathering. So this right here at tier 4, we only have one again with Frost Stallion knocked. This is, you have to catch that good old Frost Stallion and breed it out. But once you get this bred out, very good pal for, again, just like Frost Stallion, attack, getting around the map, as well as gathering. Now in the tier 3 category, only got 2 of them. We have Jetragon as well as Verdash. So nothing too crazy inside of the gathering category. There are a lot of others at the tier 2 and tier 1, but definitely when you're using them for your farming on your base, I'd be using that Verdash, Frost Stallion, Noct, or Jetragon. And when we move on to Handiwork, which is all of our crafting, so that ammo, armor, pal spheres, anything like that, we are using these pals. First off, for tier 4, we got the Anubis, which is easily the best. This thing absolutely kills crafting anything you have on your base for sure, and it's easy to get pretty early game. Now when we move on to the tier 3s, got a couple of them with Lylene as the first one, Verdash as our second, Lunaris as our third, and Wixen as our fourth. So all of these also very good with helping you to craft your pal spheres, your weapons, your armor, your ammo, anything like that. So make sure you got these on your base. Next off, we're going to have generating electricity for all of those work lines, as well as the electric medicine machine or electric furnace. The first one we have is Orzerk, which is a tier 4, one of the best pals in the game just in general. Has a lot going for it with attack as well as all of the work it can do. Tier 3 on this list, we got 2 of them with Grisbolt as well as Relaxosaurus Lux. Both of these a little mid-game kind of thing to grab in the 25 to 35 range of level to snag these and breed them out as well. You can do that, so all very good though for your base for creating that electricity. Moving on, we only got a couple more left. Planting, the other aspect of the gathering and watering and planting for farming. We have tier 4 Lylene, only tier 4 for this category. So when you're using that farm, I definitely like to have the combination of something like Lylene with a Verdash because it does multiple things on this. They both have the other gathering and planting at tier 2, so they are very, very good. On the tier 3 side of planting right here, we're going to have a Bronze Cherry as well as Petilia, which they are just the same basically as what the Lylene does, just a little less efficient, but very good pals either way to have on your base for all of those farming aspects. Second to last, we have watering right here. Got a couple of them again. First off, at tier 4, we have Jormuntide, the big old sea snake. Can catch it in a couple different places around the map and is definitely by far the best at working for that watering aspect, whether it be watering your plants or using the water to crush stones, turn your wheat into flour, stuff like that. Tier 3, we have 4 of them here with Bronze Cherry Aqua, we have Azarobe, we have Elfridian Aqua, as well as Suzaka Aqua. So all the versions of the Aqua pals that we have and can breed out. Couple you can go out and catch as well, but those will be our tier 3s. Definitely also very close to the Jormuntide, but just not quite there. Last but certainly not least for this, I know it's been a little long video, but I promise it is worth it to optimize that base with these working pals. We have our Kindling. So tier 4, we're going to use Jormuntide Ignis. The sea snake fire version that we have to breed it out or go on over to the sanctuaries and catch it. This is definitely the best for cooking up those ingots or whatever you are doing with your cooking up cakes, salads, whatever it may be. Now in the tier 3 category for this, we have a couple that fit in here with Ragnahawk, Suzaka, Flarius, Blazemute, both of the Blaze Howls in the normal version, as well as Blaze Howl Noct, as well as Reptaros. So there are a lot of options in tier 3 that can be used for that cooking and the kindling, if you will, but definitely Jormuntide Ignis is the way to go. So on my favorite base that I have for breeding and farming all of my food, I basically have 1 Jormuntide Ignis, 2 Jormuntides for the watering, then I have about 3 Verdash, 3 of the Lylenes with an Orzerk on there, and then just a couple pals to be creating milk and eggs, so the mozzarella as well as the chick pie. So couple different versions of that base, but it is easily the most effective for me. All of these pals do their jobs with no problem at all. Easily the best, and I just can sit here and it'll just farm itself over and over again. So all of these pals that I talked about today, some of the best workers that you can have inside of the game, so get to grinding them out. Very good pals that you can snag. Again, I truly appreciate all that support you guys have been giving me, not just on my Destiny videos and these Palworld videos right here. So really truly appreciate it. If you guys do like the content, don't be afraid to like and subscribe here to the channel. Also hit that little bell so you don't miss out on any of this content or the Destiny content as well. So appreciate all you guys again. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.